Razor blades on sticks? Super sticky goalie pads? We're diving into the most outrageous cheating scandals in NHL history. Did they get away with it? Let's say karma came knocking hard, as they would do anything to get a win. Let's start off back on March 9th, 2009, with Jason Spezza. The Ottawa Senators were facing their rivals, the Toronto Maple Leafs, in a close game. With only a minute left and the Senators ahead by 1 goal, things got crazy. The Maple Leafs coach, Ron Wilson, did something unusual. He asked the referees to check Jason Spezza's hockey stick. There's a rule that sticks can't be curved or too thin in a certain way, but it's rarely used. This made some people think the Leafs were just trying to slow things down. Spezza, maybe suspecting some trickery, did something funny. He actually stepped on his stick and broke the blade off. This made it harder for the referees to check it, but it didn't work. They measured the broken stick, and guess what? It was illegal. Spezza got a penalty as he was caught cheating, but the good news for the Senators is that they held on and won the game 2-1. 1 year before this all happened in 2008, Spezza said in an interview he shaves down his sticks.
And Jason, anything specific that you do to your sticks?
Well, I shave them down. I usually like to retape them before every game and kind of, rebrand them.
Marc-Andre Fleury is truly one of the top performers. The goaltender has become a fan favorite throughout his long career, proving to be one of NHL's most respected teammates. But in January 2019, in a road game against the Winnipeg Jets, he pulled off a tactic in an attempt to give his team an advantage late in the game, and it didn't sit well with all hockey fans. After Golden Knights head coach Gerard Gallant used his team's timeout, down 2-1 with 2:23 left in the third, Fleury built a wall of snow in his crease to slow down pucks heading towards the empty net. Unfortunately for him, he got caught and the referees quickly cleared it. Afterward, the Jets made the Golden Knights pay and scored 2 more goals before winning, so I don't think Fleury laughed for long. It makes you wonder, would Marc-Andre Fleury's snow fort have actually stopped the puck? Maybe the refs were just jealous of his creativity. Another goalie caught cheating is Matt Murray on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Back in November 2023, there were rumors that Murray might be cheating during the games against the New Jersey Devils and Minnesota Wild. Apparently, he was suspected of knocking the net off its post on purpose and was being called out by other teams' head coaches. Now that's a sneaky trick to stop the puck from going in, right? But the NHL didn't take any action at that time. Fast forward to January 2024, things got interesting again. An insider for the Minnesota Wild reported that they caught Murray messing with the net again during a game in the NHL Situation Room. This time, the NHL took notice and said they would be looking into this matter more seriously. On the other hand, Murray says he wasn't cheating, and that he was just having some trouble with the net and wanted the refs to know about it. But the NHL is clearly not happy about this, and they're gonna figure out what really happened. So, what's gonna happen next? Well, that's still a question mark. The NHL is still investigating, and no conclusion's been reached yet. The next NHL player who cheated was Brad Marchand back in 2019 during overtime of the Eastern Conference. Before a face-off, 3:33 into overtime, Brad Marchand stopped on Cam Atkinson's stick blade just as the linesman was about to drop the puck, without any of the officials noticing. The play was whistled dead because Bruins center Patrice Bergeron was thrown out of the face-off, but Marchand's move would have given Boston an advantage had the play started. It happened clear as day in the footage, but it was right behind the ref. I know him, so it is what it is, Cam Atkinson said the next day during practice. I mean, luckily Bergeron got kicked out of the draw, because if they dropped the puck, it was going to be 5-on-4, right? Kudos to him for getting away with it. This, however, took the cake for bizarre tactics, even for Marchand, the guy who infamously licked 2 opponents' faces 1 year earlier in 2018. Is licking technically against the rules? Since the NHL's early days, players have been firing insults like they're throwing punches, trash talk, and trying to distract goalies with a sneaky trick called snowing the net, basically blasting them with ice shavings. Of course, these moves usually lead to payback, like a good hockey fight, but sometimes a player gets a bit too creative with their antics and a whole new rule gets named after them. Back in 2008, Sean Avery of the New York Rangers decided to be the ultimate pest during a power play. Let's just say he pushed the limits of sportsmanship in a way nobody had seen before. Sean Avery spent over 25 straight seconds screening Martin Brodeur. In this same power play, Avery gets a goal to put the Rangers in the lead. Notice how even his own teammate tries to get him to stop. Legal at the time, yes. Screening the goalie is allowed, but Avery's action prompted swift action from the NHL. The new rule, known as the Sean Avery rule, makes it illegal for a player to stand in front of a goalie and wave his stick in the netminder's face. Messing around like that or not giving this video a like will land you a 2-minute penalty box vacation. The next cheating situation goes back to the 1993 Stanley Cup Finals with the infamous Marty McSorley. The stage is set. Game 2, Kings vs. Canadiens. The Kings are on the hunt for their first ever Stanley Cup. Enter Marty McSorley, a tough-nosed defenseman known for his physical play. But on this night, McSorley wasn't just playing hard, he was playing with an illegal weapon. See, back then, there were stricter rules on the curve of a hockey stick. McSorley, however, allegedly snuck a super curved stick onto the ice, giving him an unfair advantage in shooting and passing. Here's the crazy part. Nobody noticed. At first. The Kings dominated most of the game, and whispers started circulating about McSorley's suspicious stick. Finally, in a pivotal moment, the Canadiens got their hands on it. They alerted the refs, who confiscated the weapon and slapped McSorley with a penalty. The impact was immediate. The Kings' momentum vanished, and the Canadiens clawed their way back to win the game in overtime. Talk about a turning point. This wasn't the only incident with Marty, as a few years later he was involved in something that went way beyond the line. In 2000, during a heated game between the Boston Bruins and Vancouver Canucks, things boiled over. McSorley, known for his tough guy persona, tangled with Donald Brashear, a much bigger player. Now, instead of dropping the gloves for a fair fight, McSorley did something shocking. He swung his stick like a weapon, catching Brashear square in the head. This wasn't a little tap with the blade, it was a full-on blow that left Brashear unconscious. The crowd gasped, players froze, and it was clear this was serious. McSorley was immediately ejected, and the NHL came down hard. He received a record-setting suspension and later faced criminal charges for assault. I'm sure you can guess that Marty never played in the NHL again. Tony Esposito, the legendary goalie for the Chicago Blackhawks. But even legends have their secrets, and Esposito's involved some, well, fishy business. This happened back in the late 60s, when goalie equipment wasn't quite as sophisticated as it is today. Esposito, known for his acrobatic saves, was always looking for an edge. Enter his secret weapon, a little something we like to call the Chicago catfish. Now, this wasn't a literal fish, it was a whole lot sneakier. Imagine this. Esposito would take some fishing line, practically invisible on thin ice, and stitch it between the legs of his goalie pants. Basically, he created a small net to catch pucks that might sneak through the dreaded 5-hole, the gap between the legs. Talk about a creative solution. This fish net was tough to spot, and for a while, Esposito got away with it. His save percentage skyrocketed, leaving opposing teams scratching their heads. But secrets like pucks through the 5-hole eventually get exposed. Word of Esposito's fishy advantage spread. The league caught wind of it, and let's just say they weren't impressed. The Chicago catfish was deemed illegal, and Esposito had to ditch his secret weapon. Here's the interesting part. This incident actually helped the NHL. It exposed a loophole in goalie equipment and led to rule changes that better protected the 5-hole area. So, Esposito's sneaky strategy, although ultimately illegal, ended up pushing the game forward in terms of equipment innovation. The Tarasenko penalty fiasco of 2018. Now, Vladimir Tarasenko isn't exactly known for dirty tricks. The guy's a goal-scoring machine for the St. Louis Blues. But during a game, things got sticky. Literally. Tarasenko picked up a stick from his teammate, the giant Parayko. Here's the thing. Parayko has a special permission to use a stick that's a bit bigger than the usual rules allow. It's kind of a rare exception, but the ref, well, they didn't get the memo. Seeing Tarasenko with the oversized lumber, they slapped him with a penalty for using an illegal stick. Talk about a buzzkill. The Blues were definitely not happy. Luckily, the NHL came clean pretty quickly. They admitted the refs goofed and shouldn't have penalized Tarasenko without checking first. Apparently, the new plan is for refs to wait for play to stop before calling these kinds of penalties. This way, they can double-check if a player, like Parayko, has a legit reason for the bigger stick. So this isn't a cheating scandal, but it is a good reminder that even the refs can get confused sometimes. In the end, the call was overturned, and Tarasenko could get back to what he does best. But let's not forget the other ways players have pushed the boundaries of sportsmanship. First up, the spicy snivel maneuver. Imagine this. A player laces his gloves with a sprinkle of fiery chili powder. Now a simple face washing with the gloves, a not so gentle shove to an opponent's face becomes a burning nightmare. Thankfully, the NHL shut this one down in 1963, but it just goes to show the lengths some players were willing to go to. Speaking of questionable tactics, did you know teams might try to mess with their opponents psychologically? Picture this. You walk into the visitor's locker room on game day expecting the usual setup. But surprise, the walls are painted a fresh coat so there's a strong smell, and the temperature feels like a sauna. While not technically cheating, these sneaky tactics aim to get under your skin and mess with your focus, and are said to be common for the NHL. These cheating attempts raise the question, where's the line between clever strategy and crossing the line? Let us know in the comments what kind of gray area tactics you find most interesting, or what cheating scandals surprised you the most. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and check out the worst injuries in NHL history.